Welcome, Survivor! V-Rising has come up with another patch, and this is 0541669. If you checked over the last couple of days, you might have seen that there was a patch that they rolled back with another hotfix and removed it because it was causing other problems. But hopefully that doesn't happen in this case. But this is a patch from today that has a bunch of fixes. Let's go through it very quickly here. The first one mentions about general client optimization and performance. This is important, and changes from yesterday's reverted hotfixes, which is the one that broke things and everything. I don't know why it happened. They don't know what happened, but they're checking it out. Now, they are also doing that on the official servers. And my server, I did have to update so people could get online as well. So if you're running a server, make sure you update it. Added texture quality, graphics menu, good. Being able to change the texture quality is important for people who have graphics cards that are perhaps not the top of the line. FPS limit, very important as well. It's always something that I have to do in Windows. I have to set an FPS limit because having a FPS of 200 doesn't help me, but it just drains my computer resources, makes it hot, makes all the fans spin up, which I don't like. Being able to set it to, let's say, 75 or something is perfect for me. Change low quality atmosphere to high quality to keep the options menu consistent. Just a renaming of it. They fixed the bug with setting the anti-aliasing option. Good. Stairs have been added to castle floors. There's an issue with finding things. Personally, I have major issues trying to find specific things, and this is something that's going to take a bit of effort for them to do it in a way that is easy and convenient for people when they're building. And in this case, they're adding it to castle floors, so it's just easiest to find. And there are some other things that are in a little bit weird positions, and I think that's going to take a little bit of effort for them to sort of decide of how they're going to present it to the players so you can find things easier and faster. Fixed missing meshes on particular world object. There were some issues with them in the world. There was a performance issues where you were hitting the Knight Marshal sticks, so they have been fixing that. There's a respawn hotkey now in the control settings, so if you want to change it, you can actually do that. The maximum clan size has been increased to 50 on a server. If you're doing game client hosting, it's still capped at 20. This is probably due to performance reasons. They do still have issues with if there are more than 10 players online, only the 10 closest in online will appear in the clan HUD. I think they really need to work on that, and a slightly side issue, there's no way to easily see who's online on a server. Even if you're an admin, they need to get better at providing players with information about who's in the game. For instance, if you're playing a PvE, an open PvE server, you should be able to, as a game admin, put a setting so that people can see probably at least who's on the game right now, maybe even a toggle for the server settings of whether you'll be able to see where people are on the map. At the very least, you should be able to have a listing of all the people in your clan and not just the top 10, but at least they're getting better at it. Because Clan HUD will now properly show names with different colors depending on whether they're online or offline. Again, this was an issue that I logged in. As you can see here on the list, it says Hera, Pestilence, Seth, and Mordred. And actually, I wouldn't know whether any of them is online because one, they all look the same. Secondly, because there is no easy online player view unless you go to the clan and actually check there, and it's just very inconvenient. Server details, which is when you're selecting a server, will now show the amount of in-game days the server has been running for, which is not really that important. I mean, it helps a little bit, but not hugely. There was an issue with the soul shards when you put in a container. Good, fixing that. They fixed an issue with the duplicate armor buffs, which could be applied to a player, which would cause their gear level to increase above the maximum. Obviously not good. Altering the refinement cost and refinement rate server setting no longer affects the blood essence consumption rate of the castle heart. I didn't know that this was the case. I do know they have an issue with the blood essence consumption rate of the castle heart. I believe there's a setting in the server, but I couldn't get that to work. I was changing it because I wanted to have a much lower consumption rate on my PV server, and it didn't seem to do anything. They've changed the drop rate of some of the items, such as the seeds, schematics, and the golden jewelry. And really cool, they have now added some items. You have the Racer Hood and the Racer Cloak. New items, tier 1, 2, and 3 that have been added to the game. Occurrences of multiple spawns of the same V-Blood units will now be repaired upon server restart. I believe it is if there are the same V-Blood unit in the game. Let's say Quincy. that we are killing right now, or trying to kill, then the game will actually do something about it and remove one of them, because maybe they were basically the same unit multiple places of the map. There was an issue with the castle player PvP indicator where the game was using the client's local time instead of the server, which is obviously not good. Cooldown is now applied on the player effectively. It used to be that if you had one weapon, you used the ability, you switched to another weapon, and the cooldown would be reset. This has now been fixed. They've optimized the server by removing data from disconnected users. Good, especially if you have servers where you have a lot of people coming in and coming out. If you don't unload the data from the disconnected users, it's just going to be clogging up the server, which is pointless. Also, there's something I didn't see before, but they will no longer try to load old config files if they are no longer valid. But it's good. If they're not valid, don't try to load them. A really important fix was that now players can dismantle the castle and structures even if there is no heart. Apparently, there were some issues in the past where some castles had no heart and you couldn't then remove any of the castle structures because, well, there was no heart there. Now you can actually do that if it happens to you, which hopefully doesn't. They added a loading screen when starting up, which replaces the white screen that was previously there. I don't remember seeing any white screen. Maybe some people were having it. And a really weird bug fixed the issue where some computers rebooted when connecting to a game. Now that's a really bad, I would call that a critical fatal bug that I'm glad they fixed. If you have your computer rebooting, not just a game, but if your computer reboots just because you're trying to connect to a game, something is seriously wrong. Now, what other problems have you been running into playing V-Rising? One of the things that I keep running into, and the players that I play with as well, whether they're on my server or other servers or hosting their own server, is being disconnected from the servers. Occasionally, once in a while, maybe every few hours, maybe not for a day or two, but eventually will happen. It's really, really annoying. But on the other hand, I've been hearing other people not having this issue, so it's a little bit hard to tell where this is coming from. But if you have any major problems that you would like to bring up, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time in V-Rising.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.